Structural unemployment. Now, these are the real sorts of people that we're concerned about when we're talking about unemployment. These are people who are out of work because whatever skills they have are not currently needed. Right? So the brake manufacturer closed down because Ford doesn't produce those cars which need those brakes. When the economy picks up again, the cyclically unemployed people will get rehired. But if it's a structural change in the economy, so Ford no longer makes cars in Australia, even when the economy picks back up, that guy who used to work at that brake plant isn't going to get rehired. Because now Ford doesn't need to buy any brakes because it's not producing cars in Australia. So all the people who used to work for the brake manufacturer, likewise, aren't going to get a new job by magic when the economy cleans again. All of a sudden, this person has some skills that nobody wants. So we're thinking about a steel worker in a town that used to have a steel mill that doesn't have one. Or we're thinking about, you used to make saddles 100 years ago. And all of a sudden, the automobile came along. Lots of people bought automobiles. Fewer people owned horses. Fewer saddles. All of a sudden, your great saddle making skills aren't worth anything in the new economy. So structural unemployment is about structural change in the economy. The structure, the types of jobs we have in Australia changes over time. Because of technology, because of international trade, all sorts of reasons, the Australian economy continually adjusts over time. And because of that, the sorts of jobs that are supported in Australia change over time. If you happen to have one of those jobs that's no longer needed, though you might have been a great saddle maker, no one's going to hire you now because no one needs saddles made. So what are you going to do? So these are the people that we're most concerned about because there's no chance that this person's going to get re-picked up again. Right? Your saddle maker, next best option, McDonald's. That's it. The saddle maker doesn't have any skills. That anyone out there, there's no one hammering at the door saying, I need some great saddles made. It's just not there. There are no longer those jobs in Australia. So these sorts of people might have been in a very highly paid, very skilled occupation, but that very highly paid, very skilled occupation no longer exists. Or at least the demand for it no longer exists. So these people are a real source of concern. Because they may have been supporting families and other sorts of things. They might have been very well paid before, and now all of a sudden they've gone from an income that was very good to an income of zero. Or maybe they flip burgers at McDonald's. And there's no chance that these people are going to pick up their jobs again because no one wants those skills. So what causes structural change? Well, it's new technologies. So we bring in things like automobiles. We have new ways of delivering products to Coles and Safeway. Maybe, we shift from trains and move to trucks. Whatever reason, we have structural changes happening all the time in Australia. And that's what causes structural change, which causes structural unemployment. But likewise, trade can do that. If all of a sudden we start importing all of our shoes from overseas and we don't make shoes in northern outskirts of Melbourne anymore, then all those people that used to be great textile workers in northern Melbourne no longer have jobs. So they were skilled, well-paid workers that now find themselves capable of, great work at McDonald's, but nothing else. Now, the solution for this. Well, one thing we could say is, one way to stop structural unemployment would be to stop structural change. So we could say as a society, we're going to freeze. This is it. So whatever level of technology we have right now, that's it. If someone invents a new type of cell phone, we're not going to use it. Someone invents new types of computers, quantum computing, nope, not going to use it. We're going to use this technology that we have in 2010 forever. Now, as a society, humans typically don't like those sorts of choices. If someone else around the planet invents a new type of cell phone, you bet Australians going to want to find it. But what about all those people who make cell phone components in Australia using the old cell phone technology? The answer is, those guys all lose their jobs. So it's a trade-off as a society. As a society, we're going to say, we want technological change, therefore we're willing to accept structural unemployment. Because technological change will cause structural unemployment. It's unavoidable. Some people will have new jobs because of new technologies, and some people will lose their old jobs. There's no way around that. So we simply have to say technological change, new products, new ways of doing things, it's worth having to do something about these old workers. So other than freezing technology in Australia, what else can we do? Well, the answer is we're maybe going to have to get the people who lose their jobs, structurally unemployed, to go somewhere else. So they might have a job in Lithgow, where there was a steel mill a long time ago, and now all of a sudden they need to move to Wollongong, where there's a new steel mill. Right? That would be relocation. You might have to change your industry. So someone who might be working for a steel mill in Wollongong now might have to go become a miner out in the West. Right? Maybe the same skills, but they're no longer needed in Wollongong, they're needed somewhere in Broome. Or we might have to simply retrain these people. Might be a whole bunch of people who have these jobs, saddle makers. All of a sudden, they need to find some other jobs because no one needs leather worked anymore of that sort of detail. Right? So that would be job retraining. So that's one other solution for structural unemployment. And the fourth one is seasonal unemployment. These people are out of work simply because of what month it is. So seasonal unemployed people, so say fruit pickers. You have lots of people whose job is essentially they travel all around Australia, they move to different regions, and they're picking different seasonal fruit. It might be grapes somewhere in one part, one time, might be apricots in another part, might be cherries. Now, how long are these people going to be out of work? The answer is it depends what month it is. Right? There'll be something else opening up somewhere else, they'll have to move, and they do this. Are we really concerned about seasonal unemployment? No. Again, major reason is this is all voluntary. People have chosen to go into this sort of occupation. Some people like that sort of life. Essentially, they live in caravans going around the country all year long. You get to see new places. Maybe you don't like having lots of stuff dragging you down. Maybe you love living in a caravan. But essentially, you've chosen to take on this sort of lifestyle, this sort of job. And so, as a society, we're not really concerned. We don't want to fix it. Fixing this would be maybe making seasonal work illegal. It's not really socially desirable. Since people have chosen these occupations, we tend to think, there's not really much we can do about it. Right? They'll be employed come March.